Hello and welcome to another Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm going to give the 10 films that I was most disappointed with in 2025. These are definitely not the worst films of the year. In fact, almost all of them have genuine art house merit. Many are ambitious, many are beautifully made. Several are from filmmakers that I deeply respect, and in a way that's why they appear in this list. They left me disappointed, either because they fell short of their own potential or because they betrayed the strengths of filmmakers whose work I usually admire. As with the top 10, they're taken from films that had a UK cinema release during 2025. So, in reverse order, these were my 10 most disappointing films. Number 10, Edington, directed by Ari Aster. Aster continues to experiment, and I do respect that. The setup is strong. It's a small town, a data center, pandemic politics, conspiracy culture. On paper, it is rich territory, but the satire turns smug and shallow. Political movements are reduced to caricature. Big themes are raised, then dropped. Major actors are underused. It becomes provocative without substance. I admire the refusal of Aster to repeat himself by making very different films, but this is his least effective work so far. Number 9, The Mastermind, directed by Kelly Reichardt. I hate putting this in the list. Kelly Reichardt is one of the great filmmakers living today, but that's why this disappointment stings. The Mastermind adds too much story and music to her usual restraint, and in doing so loses what makes her special. I didn't care about the characters. The central figure is despicable without complexity. The jazz score overwhelms the quiet spaces where her films usually breathe. There's no doubt this film remains watchable, but it lacks the nuance and stillness that defines her best work. Number 8 is The Phoenician Scheme, directed by Wes Anderson. Anderson remains a visual perfectionist. Every frame is immaculate, every color is calibrated, every object is positioned with obsessive care, and yet, as with all his films, the world feels sterile. The characters feel decorative rather than alive. The emotional stakes are almost absent. I did enjoy individual moments, especially the father-daughter chemistry and the musical textures of the film. If you've never seen an Anderson film, this is as good as any of his other work. But overall, it feels predictable, self-referential and hollow, style without any soul. Number 7 is Parthenope, directed by Paolo Sorrentino. This film is ravishing to look at. Naples becomes a dream of light, water and bodies. The opening images are so striking. The aesthetic control is extraordinary, but the story is fragmentary. The protagonist remains thin. Philosophy becomes surface decoration. Provocative scenes feel inserted rather than integrated. I did admire the ambition and the visual poetry of this film, yet emotionally I never connected with it. It's beauty over substance. And number 6 is Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers. There's no doubt that this film contains extraordinary cinematography and very committed performances. The images of forests, snow, shadows, they're often breathtaking, but I kept asking why this remake exists. It neither stays close enough to honour the originals, nor departs far enough to become something new. The vampire becomes more monster than vampire. The mythology's diluted. It is worth seeing for the craft alone, but it's disappointing overall. In 5th place, Maria, directed by Pablo Larraín. Maria feels like a perfume advert trying to be a biography. The 1970s Paris aesthetic is stunning. The costumes, interiors, and cinematography, all impeccable. Angelina Jolie does commit fully to the role, but the film offers little insight into Callas as an artist. We see sadness, not creation, tragedy, not genius. Style overwhelms the story. I wanted to understand why she mattered. Instead, we're given a glossy, beautiful surface with a hollow centre. Number 4 is Mickey 17, directed by Bong Joon-ho. I loved Parasite, so my expectations were quite high. Mickey 17 has an excellent premise and rich themes of identity, labour and colonialism, but the satire is heavy-handed, repetitive, and I often found it silly. Characters become caricatures. The runtime is really indulgent. Emotional stakes never solidify. There are flashes of surreal brilliance, but they're drowned in over-explained metaphor and broad humour. Definitely a misfire for me. In third place is Flow, directed by Gins Zilbalodis. Flow is critically adored and Oscar crowned. I do admire the ambition of the wordless storytelling and the technical achievement of the animation, but I was bored. The animals felt too human. The world felt like a video game environment. The emotional cues were manipulative rather than moving. I accept that this may be personal taste, but for me, it never transcended its top-class technique into engaging cinema. In second place is Nickel Boys, directed by Ramel Ross. On paper, this is such an important story, and the film does have a historical significance. I appreciated the structure and contextual material, but the formal choices killed the experience for me. The narrow frame unnecessarily shrinks the screen, and the constant first-person point of view feels like a video game. I never settled into the film. I always remained aware of technique rather than emotion. This is a vital story that's undermined by its distractive form. And in first place is Caught Stealing, directed by Darren Aronofsky. I like Aronofsky's films generally, and I was looking forward to this one. At number one, this was my deepest disappointment. I was so disappointed. Caught Stealing offers caricatured characters, generic crime tropes, shallow deaths, and weightless violence. It wants to be cool, but it feels second-hand, stylish without originality, chaotic without meaning. This is the first Aronofsky film where I felt none of his usual ambition or depth, a really hollow exercise. 5 other films could easily have been included in this list. I'll list them briefly in alphabetical order. First is Frankenstein. This is a handsome and confident adaptation. It's satisfying at a cinematic level, but it felt philosophically shallow. Next is Marty Supreme, a stylish and energetic work, but it never earned any emotional investment for me in its central character. Next is Sinners. I did think this is an ambitious and engaging film, but it never quite fuses its music, myth and horror into a fully satisfying whole. Next is The Smashing Machine, an intriguing character study that gestures towards depth without fully reaching it. And then 28 Years Later. This is a visually inventive film, and it is often thrilling, but it's ultimately confused in tone and purpose. I should also say that I haven't included my most disappointing blockbusters here. Films like Superman, Jurassic Park, Wolfman, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning were all disappointing for me. And that is my top 10 most disappointing films of 2025. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.